Hey, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Lakers on YouTube. Brian Kamenetzky and Andy Kamenetzky coming to you ahead of a critical must-win, genuinely must-win Game 6. Not one of these cliched must-wins like seriously win or the season's over. That's it.
Absolutely. So in thinking about this, Brian, first of all, great curtains. I love what you got going in the background. It actually, I'm not joking. It looks aesthetically quite pleasing.
Well, I'm glad. This is my boys' room. We do these things to let people behind the curtain. We do this. I do this from whatever room children aren't in at any given moment. The kids are downstairs eating lunch. Therefore, I am using their room to do this segment.
No, these videos turn into a really unintentional version of cribs. But
yes,
we've been talking a lot the last few Locked On Lakers podcasts, including today's heading into Game 6, about whether the Lakers trust themselves, trust each other, trust what they're doing out there on the court. There have been times, Brian, particularly during Game 5, where that trust has seemed vulnerable.
Yes.
However, what we have not necessarily discussed as much is how much we trust the players themselves involved. So with that in mind, we are going to play a game of how much do you trust Laker player X? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a list of basically all the Lakers who could end up in the rotation, who have a reasonable shot being in this game. You are going to give me your gut reaction on a scale of 1 to 10, how much you trust them. And so it's clear, this is within the realm of what is reasonably expected of them to do.
So it's not like how much do I trust them to do my taxes or babysit my children. It's to come through as expected in tonight's Game 6.
Yes, I was going to say just what's expected of a basketball player, but if you just want to remove all
as
doubt
human beings, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm up for this. Let's do it.
So we begin with LeBron James, the most important Laker that will be taking the court today. Scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust LeBron to perform at the level of what is expected?
9. He's LeBron James. Well, absolutely. 9, and the only reason it's not a 10 is because he's got the ankle and the other guys sort of sucked in game 5. And so he can't perform with a massive stat line unless those guys do at least a little bit. But in terms of LeBron being there and ready to do it, a 9. Absolutely rock solid on LeBron James. Let's do this.
I tend to agree. His record in closeout games over his career, or potential closeout games, potential elimination games, has been amazing. And I don't anticipate LeBron having 2 ordinary games in a row. Dennis Schroeder, scale of 1 to 10. How much do you trust Dennis Schroeder? Gut reaction, Brian. 4.
I don't. Not much. He has had moments where when Anthony Davis
Eins, zwei, drei, vier.
Horsing goggle. He's either going to, I feel like there's no in between here. Like he's either going to be really good or he's going to be invisible like he was in Game 5 where he literally had no points. He's got to be good, but I do not have a ton of faith because we've had a lot of moments like this throughout the season where they've needed Schroeder, and he has had times when he's been excellent and other times when he has not played the way that they want. And therefore, I just don't have a lot of faith.
I'm going to give it a 5 just because of all the reasons you mentioned, like dead ass in the middle of feeling good about, not feeling great about. Kyle Kuzma. 7.
I'm going to downgrade that to a 6. Do I feel Kuzma's going to show up, play hard, do the stuff like he did in Game 5 and like look confident? I got about an 8 or a 9 for that. Do I feel confident because in Game 6 they're likely going to need him to score? That's something he has not done consistently. I'm only feeling about a 4 or 5 that he'll do the scoring part of the stuff that we need from Kuz. And I therefore am going to land that right around a 6.
6 sounds perfect. I agree with you on all those counts. I really hope Kuz has one of those scoring games that, used to be not only in his bag, it used to be the bag.
It's just funny because like it's like you don't think of scoring necessarily as like part of the thing that he's supposed to bring, like you set up at the beginning of the segment. But tonight it is. If the Lakers are going to advance, Kuz is almost certainly going to have to put in, 12 to 16 points.
Scale of 1 to 10, Alex Caruso. How confident are you?
6. I think Caruso will do what's expected of him. D up, maybe hit a shot or 2.
I'm going an 8. I feel like there's a big Caruso game coming. And the reason I say that is because while it's not an apples to apples comparison because the Lakers were ahead, He got his first career playoff start in game 6 to close out the Miami Heat in the finals, and he performed really well. So I got a little more confidence than you do.
And he does represent everything that makes America great, and therefore he's going to step up in game 6. I believe that.
Yeah, for the time being, still confident in America. Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond.
You know what? Drummond's been fine. 7. Andre Drummond is going to go out and do Andre Drummond things, and whether or not that matters or people like it, I don't know. They may not make the Lakers better, but Drum is going to do Drummond stuff. And he's been as consistent as anybody on the Lakers in this series. I am a 7 on Andre Drummond.
I'm at a 4 on Andre Drummond. I would have been in a 7 if it were not for his tweet yesterday about controlling what you can control with the prayer hands in the beginning of it, LOL, which made it sound like Andre Drummond is expecting
maybe what he can control is kicking ass in game 6. So there you go.
Well, and when you begin it with LOL, it does not sound like somebody looking to kick ass. I'm hoping to be wrong. Marc Gasol, scale of 1 to 10.
6. 5. Because before the series, I was very confident. Even during the series, I feel like we've talked about Marc Gasol like he's very responsible for a lot of excellent things that happened with the Lakers. But as we talked about on today's episode of Locked On Lakers, the actual numbers for Marc Gasol in this series and his net ratings and all that kind of stuff are terrible. So the gap between my conception of Marc Gasol and the actual Marc Gasol that has played for the Lakers in this series, with some small exceptions, is pretty wide, and therefore I'm going to have to land that right around 5.
I'm going to go a 7 just because of Marc Gasol's experience going deep into the playoffs, having been through a lot of adversity with the Raptors. He is a champion, so therefore I'm going 7, but I totally understand your argument. Taylon Tucker.
9!
Yeah, wow.
You know why? Because Taylon Tucker is going to get out on the floor, and if he plays, he's going to go try to get buckets. And we may not like it, and it may not look good, and it may be the wrong thing at the wrong time. But like, again, what's expected of you? Get out on the floor, go get buckets. That is my reaction. I feel like this is going to be one of those games where we start talking about, oh my God, are the Lakers going to be able to re-sign Taylon Tucker this offseason? Remember that conversation where somebody's going to max out Taylon Tucker and people have to pump the brakes on that?
No, he was a bridge.
It's coming back. It's coming back tonight.
He was a bridge too far for Kyle Lowry. Remember?
That's right.
In the trade talks. Montrezl Harrell. Montrezl Harrell.
Well, I'm not sure he's going to play. That's I do think if he gets out on the floor, I'm going 7. I think Trez is going to do what Trez is one of those guys he's like Drummond. He's going to do his stuff. And might not all be good because defensively, he can be problematic. But again, if we're not expecting them to exceed their normal, like if we're not expecting Trez to morph into a stopper defensively, but go produce points, provide energy, grab a couple offensive rebounds, get a couple buckets, I'm 7. I'm confident he'll do that.
I actually have a feeling Trez is going to get more run in this game.
I think so too.
It feels like we are inching closer to recognizing, I hope, from Frank Vogel, that they got to start scoring, and Trez is somebody who can be a source of that. Markieff Morris, scale of 1 to 10. How confident are you?
3. I am not confident.
3 feels generous.
I mean, he's a veteran.
As much as Keith was really valuable last year in the playoffs, much more than you and I expected heading into it.
To see that. Woof. Don't want to see a lot of that.
Ben McLemore.
10. Because again, Ben McLemore is going to get out and do Ben McLemore. Like if you throw him the ball, he is going to shoot the ball. He's not going to do what I think he did in game 5. Like he had a play in game 5 where he tried to pump fake and he put it on the floor and he turned it over. And that is not, they're going to tell him, don't do that. If you play, don't do that. Now,
I think he learned his lesson. I'm sure he experienced it and didn't enjoy it.
You made the point that the Lakers need more offense in this game, and I totally agree. And I don't want to slow this segment down. Ben McLemore does not provide offense. He provides one thing. He provides someone who will take 3-point shots. But again, if you look at the Lakers and what they do when he plays offensively, they're not that good because he's not a great offensive player. He's actually somebody who causes them to play 4-on-5. So if you want really good offense, don't play Ben McLemore. I do not want to see Ben McLemore in this game.
Assuming he's available to play, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
5, because I'm worried about the injury.
Yeah.
He's got confidence problems and injury problems, and as hard as he works, he's going to give everything he possibly can. I love that about KCP. Respect that about him. I don't think he is healthy, and combine that with the confidence issues to make it so he might be reluctant to shoot, things like that. I'm a little shaky on KCP.
I'll give it a 6 if he's willing to just go out there and play defense and be as disruptive as possible, like spend his entire game in Devin Booker's jersey. I'll give it a 6.
I agree, willing.
If he's thinking at all about offense, it feels more like a 2.
Yeah,
finally,
willing and able. Yes.
If he's able to play, Anthony Davis, and this is critical.
6. I feel like he's one of these deals where the Suns probably shouldn't pay that close attention to him if he plays. They probably should make him prove it more than once, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and they should attack the hell out of him defensively if he plays. But there's that mental thing where he's still Anthony Davis. His Lakers encountered this earlier in the series, I think, with Chris Paul, while he was more injured, I think, than as he started to come around. Where you mentally just treat guys like their station in life. So I think there's a possibility he could do some things, but man alive, that injury does not sound like one you get on the floor and play well with quickly.
I feel like a 4, and the reason is because not even so much the effect he'll have on the offense, because I agree with you, just his presence there alone is going to affect the way Phoenix goes about trying to stop the Lakers. The issue is going to be defensively how much he can move, because Anthony Davis really is the anchor of this defense. He is the defensive version of what LeBron is for the offense. And this is one of those things where Anthony Davis, even at half strength, does not affect things positively the way Anthony Davis at half strength could help the offense.
Correct.
Like it becomes a different deal.
It's a different deal.
So there you go. We shall see, Brian. Obviously, like you said, this is huge. Heading into
there's a lot. Game. There's a lot at stake in this, not just for the Lakers, but also for this podcast.
Yes,
I mean, a significant amount at stake for this podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So on a lot of levels, it's very important the Lakers win. Make sure that you are subscribing to Locked On Lakers podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, and also that you're subscribing to this channel so you can make sure you are getting all of this video exclusive content. We will see everybody coming up soon.